David Liu. From a notorious killer to a Christian missionary. David Liu was born into a Taiwanese family. Liu spent time in 14 out of the 38 prisons in Taiwan, from the age of 18 until 26. Due to improper family education, Liu became aggressive and violent in his youth, engaging in theft, extortion, and debt collection for gambling. By his early 20s, he had been imprisoned several times, earning the hatred of his entire village. In his youth, Liu could not sleep without fighting, and his hands would itch for violence. Once, after collecting a gambling debt, he saw a man smoking by the lake, kicked him into the water, and the man, afraid of being beaten, called for help. Nearby police officers heard the commotion and rushed out, causing Liu and his companions to flee. In a major bloody brawl, the police offered a high reward for Liu's capture. At his peak, Liu owned 6 luxury brand pistols from the US and Italy, as well as a rare sniper rifle. During his escape, he once held an M21 sniper rifle to demand money from a gang leader. When refused, he shot the leader in the buttocks, earning him the nickname Butt Shooter. Liu's first time in prison did not lead to repentance. He planned an escape, gathering fellow inmates to join him. On a dark, windy night, they climbed over the prison wall, but were chased by guard dogs. They jumped into a river and were swept out to the Pacific Ocean. Clinging to trees, they encountered a school of sharks, but were fortunately carried south by the current. Eventually, they washed ashore in an orchard and escaped. Years later, Liu was captured again. In prison, he received letters from a young female college student named Chen Xiaoling, whose brother, Liu's former high school classmate, had once been involved in Liu's gang. Liu had taken the blame for a crime to protect him. The girl was a devout Christian. Liu discovered from her letters that she was trying to influence him with God's teachings. After exchanging over hundreds of letters, Liu and the student fell in love. In the cell next to Liu, one of the Taiwanese gang leader was imprisoned for murder. Even while incarcerated, the gang leader could command the gang outside, earning 1 million NTD a day. One day, after chatting with Liu for 10 minutes, the gang leader said he felt unwell and went back to his cell. Shortly after, Liu was informed that the gang leader had died suddenly. Liu rushed over, slapped him, and performed chest compressions, but ultimately watched helplessly as he, who had only been imprisoned a few months, was carried away. Sleepless that night, Liu began reflecting on his past. Life is so brief and fragile. Do I not have a chance to break free and regain my freedom? Can I resist the temptations of the underworld, fine wine, women, and luxury life? I felt a hunger inside, yearning to grasp something I could rely on. Then the 250th letter from the devoted Christian girl arrived. Liu referred to this letter as a heavenly letter. Chen Xiaoling wrote in her letter, "When clothes are dirty, you use soap to clean them. When a person's soul is filthy, what do you use to purify it?" This opened Liu's eyes and his heart. Liu renounced violence and took up the scalpel of repentance, preaching in prisons and encouraging others to do good. After released from the prison, Liu devoted himself to charity, discovering that doing good was far harder than doing evil. In his second year at seminary, he was sent to his hometown, which he had once terrorized. Despite being ridiculed and rejected, he persisted in his work, eventually earning the forgiveness and acceptance of his community. He became a full-time pastor and traveled to over 60 countries, sharing his story of transformation from a killer to a missionary. He and his wife, the author of over 500 letters, raised 2 beautiful daughters who live quietly in the US, listening to their father's tales of his past. In the 1990s, Pastor Liu went to the United States to study, where he earned doctoral degrees in education and theology. With the support of the Taiwanese theological community and Chinese foundations, he established Pioneer Theological Seminary and became its president. To this day, Pastor Liu is frequently invited to various places to preach and testify to God's miraculous works in his life. Liu often remarked on the paradox of our world. Prisoners frequently proclaim their innocence, while truly good people in the church humbly acknowledge themselves as sinners. We all need God's grace to open our eyes and receive His forgiveness and new life. Only God and His blood can wash away people's sin.